I used to think my life was heavy because of other people, because of what I didn't get, because of what I went through, because of the way things turned out. It was easier to believe that, easier to point outward, easier to say, they did this to me, easier to blame timing, circumstances, luck. Because if it was their fault, then I didn't have to change. But there's a dangerous comfort in blame. Blame protects your ego. It shields you from responsibility. It lets you stay the same while convincing yourself you're a victim of forces beyond your control. And I lived there for a long time. I didn't realize it, but I was building a prison out of excuses, brick by brick. I'll start when I feel ready. I'll commit when things calm down. I'll change when I'm more confident. I'll try when I'm not afraid. But readiness never came. Confidence never magically appeared. Fear never disappeared. And time kept moving. That's the cruel part. Life doesn't pause while you hesitate. It doesn't slow down because you're unsure. It just moves. And if you don't move with it, you get left behind by your own inaction. I wasn't attacked. I stalled. Every time growth knocked on my door, it didn't come gently. It came disguised as discomfort. Early mornings, hard conversations, embarrassment, discipline, sacrifice. And I kept pretending I didn't hear it. I chose comfort instead. Comfort is quiet. It doesn't threaten you. It doesn't challenge you. It whispers, rest a little longer. You deserve a break. You've been through enough. Tomorrow is fine. Tomorrow. The most dangerous word in the language of self-sabotage. Tomorrow became my hiding place. I postponed workouts. I postponed decisions. I postponed courage. And every delay felt small in the moment. But small delays compound. One missed action becomes a habit. One habit becomes an identity. And suddenly you wake up and realize you've built a version of yourself you don't even respect. That realization hurts. Not because someone exposed you, but because you exposed yourself. There's a specific kind of pain that comes from knowing you had more in you and didn't use it. From realizing you were capable of better and chose easier. I wasn't destroyed by enemies. I was eroded by comfort. Slowly, quietly. No explosions, no dramatic collapse. Just small compromises. I'll skip today. I'll start next week. I'm not ready yet. What if I fail? Fear doesn't always scream. Sometimes it sounds logical. It sounds responsible. It sounds cautious. But underneath it is the same truth. You're afraid to step into something bigger than the version of yourself you've gotten used to. And I was afraid. Afraid of failing publicly, afraid of looking foolish, afraid of being judged, afraid of committing and not following through. So instead of risking failure in the open, I failed in private. I stayed small. I stayed safe. I stayed average. That's self-sabotage. It's not dramatic destruction. It's the quiet refusal to grow. It's knowing what you need to do and not doing it. It's understanding your potential and negotiating with mediocrity. And the hardest part, no one sees it but you. People might think you're fine. They might think you're progressing. They might think you're doing okay. But deep down, you know. You know when you avoided something. You know when you didn't give full effort. You know when you chose comfort over growth. And that silent awareness eats at you. I reached a point where I couldn't lie to myself anymore. The world wasn't holding me back. I was. my hesitation, my inconsistency, my fear of discomfort. I kept waiting to feel motivated, but discipline doesn't wait for feelings. It moves regardless of them. I kept thinking I needed more confidence, but confidence is built after action, not before it. I wanted certainty, but growth demands risk, and risk demands courage. The version of me that sabotaged my life wasn't evil. He was scared. He was tired. He was protective. He thought staying small would keep him safe. But safety without growth becomes stagnation, and stagnation becomes regret. I had to face that version of myself, not with hatred, but with honesty, because you cannot defeat what you refuse to acknowledge. I looked at my patterns, the procrastination, the overthinking, the quitting before results showed up, the bursts of motivation followed by long periods of inconsistency. That wasn't bad luck. That was self-betrayal, and I had to decide. Do I keep protecting the weaker version of myself, or do I outgrow him? Growth is violent in a quiet way. It requires you to let parts of yourself die. The excuses, the habits, the comfortable routines, the identity you've gotten used to. It feels like loss, because in a way, it is. You're losing the familiar. You're losing the version of yourself that felt safe, but you're gaining strength. I stopped negotiating with my fear. I stopped asking myself if I felt like it. I stopped waiting for perfect conditions. I started acting anyway. Not dramatically, not perfectly, but consistently. And consistency is the antidote to self-sabotage. Small daily actions rebuild self-trust. Every time you do what you said you would do, you repair something inside you. Every time you move despite fear, you weaken its control. I sabotaged my own life, but I also have the power to rebuild it. That's the truth most people avoid. If you had the power to destroy your progress, you also have the power to create it. The same mind that created excuses can create discipline. The same habits that kept you stuck can be replaced. The same fear that stopped you can be confronted. The war was never against the world. It was against the part of me that wanted comfort more than growth. And now I choose differently. Not because it's easy, but because I'm tired of betraying myself. I'm tired of knowing I could have done more. I'm tired of watching time pass while I prepare. Preparation without action is just disguised avoidance. So I move, even when I'm unsure, even when I'm uncomfortable, even when I'm not confident, because I would rather struggle moving forward than decay standing still. I sabotaged my own life, but that chapter is over. The enemy has been identified, and once you see the enemy clearly, you can finally fight back. And this time, I'm not losing to myself.